back again. I decided to I'm gonna play with some scraps from the project we were working on the other day. Actually, I'll show you guys how those turned out. Those are the little studs. They still could use something to polish them. Don't yell at friends. Chew your bones. I gave them all bones. It might have been a bad idea. The baby thinks that the one that's guarding a bone should share. And hey, come here. Let's not get over here. Come here, you little crazy thing. Come here. Come say hi. You want to say hi? Here. Say hi. Whoop. Say hi. He's like, no, I don't want to. I want to go get everybody with the bones. All right. So yeah. So then there's the bigger studs. Those came out really pretty. I haven't done anything to clear coat those yet. Because resin's annoying to not dome, and they're already slightly domed, so I don't think they'll resin well, so I probably need to coat them with something else. And then I tried doming this guy with the resin. It was a low viscosity, and I was hoping I could get a thin enough layer, but then it just parted on the top, so I thickened it up, and it's not a perfect dome. And I knew better, but it's still pretty. I don't think it's that bad, but it's just not as perfect as I wanted it to be. Oh, and then the backside came out really pretty too. Yeah, bones was a bad idea. Definitely a bad idea. This, you guys didn't get to see me working on. Can you be quiet with your friends? But I love the way these came out. So those are some of the shavings from the backside. Just stuck on white, actually it's the pearl and white mix. And I'll sanded the fronts because they were attached to tile. I haven't done anything with the back, so. Oh, Lestat, you're very bad. Stop. No yelling. No, you're a bad puppy. Come here. I will pick you back up again. Won't be able to hold them the whole time, but, and then that was, I think we did do that one together. Some earrings and stuff, yeah. And then so the double-sided guys came out super pretty. Now somebody else is barking at her. Okay, bones were a terrible idea. I figured that would occupy them and not start fights. And I pieced all the leftover scraps all back together and then just cut some stuff out that was pretty. And I love scraps. I don't know what it is. I like the initial Makumegane just fine, but man, that's another one of those. I love playing with scraps. They kind of always do the neatest things. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Alrighty. But yeah, so that's the stash of what's floating around in here. And there's a couple more of those too. Oh, did I resin that? It looks like I did resin that one. And those came out okay. Yeah, so that's that. And now I was going to play with the scraps and chuck them. Now the Ridgeback wants attention. Everybody wants my attention. I thought Bones was going to be a win. Okay, so this was the blue with a little bit of white still in it. No, you can be quiet. Good boy, thank you. Good job. Good quiet, thank you. You're teachable, I think. Hey. All right, I'm going to try a thing. Sorry, guys. Let's put the crazy one out here with Bone. Let's take it somewhere else. Kicked her out of the dog room with her Bone. She's probably still going to protect it, but I can close the door. Anyway, all right, so yeah, so this was just that pretty light blue that we mixed up. And it's got some white scraps and stuff in it, so rather than mixing it all down, I figured I'd do a chippy choppy instead. This is mostly translucent with a little bit of white mixed in it. So that was just scraps, and then this is, just random scraps. So there you go. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the fandom. Yeah, so chippy choppying all up. It's the last time I'm doing Bones for the dogs. Loki, are they bugging you too? All the arguments. I swear there's enough bones for everybody. And Bone's big enough for multiples to chew on, and they're just like, nah, not having it. Oh, there goes another puppy. Lestat, I know that's you. You're the big mouth. Okay, so that should give us a pretty little bit of mix. Now I'm just going to squish that all back together. That should do it. Lestat, you found someone else to bark at? How about we don't bark at friends? No, Lestat. So funny. They're all insane. Every last one of them. They're nuts. Okay. So nice. We got a little bit of flake in there. I think that's a tiny bit too chunky still. I'm not sure how much of that audio is picking up, but it's very entertaining. There's so much going on. Quiet, guys. Y'all are nuts. No. No. You're crazy. Lestat. Lestat, you're that puppy. Anyone want a really cute puppy? All right, now we're getting closer to mixed. Okay, should be choppy all around. Because I'm not adding any flakes in it, I could put some of that blue flake. No, actually, no, I'm not. Because I have a plan, and I'm going to stick to the plan because it's a good plan. And hello, is that Mount Dave? Man, I'm getting blind with age. 40 sucks. Lose coordination, lose vision. It's just, yeah, oh, that's much better. Okay. So it's not quite so chunky. It's a little bit better blended. And then once I run it through the pasta machine, oh, Lestat is dying. Poor baby. Oh, I don't have the motor on. Yeah, on like that. And I'm gonna need to find a squirt bottle. Stop! Stop! Stop yelling! I'm gonna put you in a kennel. There's bones over there. There's a bone right here. Get that one. There you go. Can't find the squirt bottle. It's not where it's supposed to be. Lestat. Hi. You're not king of the world. I'll send you outside. Baby. Yep, that'll do it. So, out a little bit. Okie dokie. And then I think I want a layer of, this appears to be that pearlized white. Yes, that's what it is. So I want a very thin layer of this. Now the vacuum's attacking the dog with the bone. That's what that wants. What? Okay, leave that bone alone. Nikki, you gonna take that to your baby? Go ahead. Alright. I'll go find someone else to yell at now. Okay, really thin layer of white. Bubble. Alright, one little even skinnier, all the way down to a 9. Oh, that's a dangerously skinny to play with. They're all grumbling down there. Someone else bossy got a bone. Just a little stretch as I lay it out. I want this nice and thin. Roller. I'm on the roller. Should I piece of paper I'm going to set that real fast. Alrighty. Nice. we're going to stick with that same debossing roller this time. And I don't think, no, I don't want any translucent yet. So let's put this back out to a 0. It probably needs to be 2, but that'll work. Okie dokie. So Snowflake Odyssey. Let's give it a quick spritz. Make sure it's nice and wet. Towel to make sure it's evenly wet and not too wet, and that my hand isn't soaked. And then just a nice firm press. And they're all a bunch of murder gremlins. Alrighty, and we're gonna dry it off. And I do not want to do the smushy thing. I'm gonna leave this flat because I'm gonna be doing a few other techniques with it. It should be quite interesting, but I don't need that container. I need a slicey dice blade. Put my 2-inch there so you guys can see what I'm doing. And then, so this should just be a nice, simple little, I want to leave as much of the white in the snowflakes as I can, so I'm just trying to take off the thickness without getting in there too far. And then I love that little snowy effect that it has in the background now. That should be a really pretty background. And so this is going to be like multiple layers. This is essentially just our first base layer. So I want some snowflakes in the background. No dogs barking in the background. A little deep there, so I don't want to keep going with that slice. So sometimes if you rotate, come at it the other direction, you can undo an overly deep slice without actually destroying the whole thing. Loki, what's the matter? Or maybe not, maybe just that area is higher. I'm definitely not aiming for utter perfection. I just want a nice, pretty, interesting little background. And I'm not setting up those shavings to use because I've done a lot of snowflake pieces already. And I can use them as scraps for something else. Slicey, slicey. Just trying to get to the point where everything is relatively level. There we go. That was a pretty slice. Guys, chill, Lacey. Okie dokie. I think from that point, I will be able to make something work. And those will actually probably make some pretty beads. Just roll that pile of scraps up. And those will make some pretty beads. Well, I had a couple bead logs too I made out of the scraps from the other day's project. All right, there we go. So, snowflake bead roll. Set that aside. So now I want some of my translucent. And go ahead and run this through the pasta machine. No need to do anything. That ended up being a number 3, and it's still not even 100% flattened, but that's fine. Michi, who are you fussing at? Says anybody and everybody. They're all too close to my thing. This one's mine. Yeah, I know my little bosses. Most of them aren't very bossy. Some of them are quite possessive. This is now a Cernet translucent. Tripping at the edges so bad, so that it'll slice down pretty well. It's pretty firm, so it wants to soften up pretty good. I don't like to put anything into Cernet translucent to soften it, because it tends to be once it gets soft, it can get gooey and gross and like really awkwardly soft. And that actually might happen a little bit because I am planning on using some acrylic paint with it, and I find it gets gooey with acrylic paint. So we'll see what happens. Trying to run it till it softens up some. There we go. I think I'm sticking on the edges now. Hello to the new one. Yeah, I can't read well enough on the little screen. I'm sorry, guys. I need to put a bigger screen on this. All right, I need about half of that to cover. Alrighty. Oh my goodness, someone's dying of loneliness or sadness, or they don't have a bonedness. That sounds like it's still a stat. He's dramatic. Lestat, you're not gonna die if you don't get a bone. That poor baby. Apparently I am torturing the heck out of him. Alright, there we go. So, now we're all spread out. And it's not wet, so I don't have to worry about sticking issues, I don't think. No, sir. It can still be a pain. But it should be fine. Oh, Lestat is sad. Whoa, was puppy. My silly kill off the extras trick. Yeah, I should not have picked up a puppy. Shedding hair. Alright, so the cool thing I'm going to be doing now, I don't think I have an example of this technique to show you. I did a butterflies a while ago, but alright, so first of all, even just doing that would be really pretty because that would make the snowflakes would still show through. It'd be super subtle and really pretty technique. But what I want to do here, make sure that's all down really, really well. Now the edges off, burnish it down, and now this time we need an embossing, not a debossing. And back and forth, I'm going to use this on the last one, so we're going to stay with that Snowflake Odyssey for right now, but we're switching to the embossing instead of the debossing. So the debossing pushes the main pattern down, the embossing leaves the main pattern raised. Spritz bottle. And the water just helps keep it from sticking to the clay. Alrighty. That's the little bit top to bottom. I don't think it actually matters. I'll stand up because I want this relatively. Okay, there we go. Now, the fun part. Paint it. Yeah, so I have two types of paint pulled out. I have these guys are the metallic gouache. Gouache? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but yeah. Yeah, they're all metallic, so it's a really pretty set. It's got 36 colors in there, so there's tons. And then there's this set I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I thought it was 50% off of that, but I was wrong. It was still 11 bucks. But for all the colors and all the metallics, I thought that was a pretty good price. So I'm liking these blues in here, and that's a good pearlized white. So I might go ahead and see what happens if I mix these guys up a little bit. And I think I'm going to do a couple layers of this, but it also depends on how quickly this dries, because that's kind of the trick to this. And the main color I wanted from here is this pearl glacier blue. Looks like a really good one. And it matches my colors well. And then this is a pearl white rose, which I may or may not include. And then that's pearl midnight. So I might use one or the other, or both, or neither. I'm not sure yet. So in order to test out and play with my colors, I need a little tile. Where are these guys? There we go. So just use a little side piece of tile. Get that away. Too much stuff in my space again, because I always have too much stuff in my space. I can put the roller away. I can put the big roller dog away. I can put that elsewhere, and voila, now there's more room. All right, so we're gonna work here. Let's see if I can get you guys a little closer. My little arm doesn't work as well for zooming in, but all right, so we're gonna put a dollop of, I have to open all these. Yep. And then there's my dollop. Don't need any more than that. Go back in. Doesn't take much. Back in your little box. Paper towel. It's going to be very important now. Definitely think I'm going to want this guy, the glacier blue. Just a little tiny dollop. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And then I want to see what this pearl white looks like. Just a little dollop, tiny dollop. Yep, it's a little yellow. It's very pretty. I will absolutely have some uses for that. I don't know if it's going to be today's project or not, but wow, that one's intense. Holy smokes. So this might be too much blue for me. But man, that's got a metallic amazingness in there. So these gouaches definitely seem to be a heavier bodied paint, where that's way more wet. But you guys hear it from me all the time. I don't like intense primary colors. I prefer my colors to have a touch of mutedness, a little bit of what I'd almost call soul. I don't know. It's just that they're bright out of the container type colors. They kind of bore me. It's just too blah. I like them to mix and be a little more subtle. So I'm thinking, the way these are coming out, I'm thinking we're going to avoid that guy and then just use the rest of the colors, because those all have a good cohesive. There we go. So that one's got a nice darkness to that. That's a nice medium bright. It's a very nice light. I might use that to tone these down a little if I need to. We're probably going to avoid that guy and then the white. So, should I start with darker snowflakes behind? Because I was planning on stacking multiple layers of translucent and stacking the snowflakes. So I don't know if it'll be better to stick to one element. Let's start with the light colors and then we'll go darker. Let's do that. So I'm just going to pick up a little color. I'm going to tap it on. So I'm picking up that pearl white and just going to kind of tap it in. Oh, there you go. Now you can kind of see it a little bit. just going to get kind of random and all over the place with this, because I want the other color to kind of touch into it. Oh, I am going to need more of that pearl white. That's going fast. Okay, now touch the blue, touch it into where the pearl white was, so I'm still finger tapping. And then I'm going to come in here and mix that in. You see, you got a lot more of that coming up. That is fascinating. I don't know if it's going further because there's already some paint down, or if it's going further because it just goes further. Oop, I picked up some of that dark blue and I don't want that yet, so you stay put. I'm going to grab just the tiniest touch of that. And mix that yellowy. Ah, yes, that's definitely going to do. And just a little touch of it in. Almost brings a little gold into the whole thing for us. Part of me is a little tempted to like take a single piece of this off as it sits. Yeah. And it's dry. These are both an acrylic based paint, so they will just rinse off mostly. Although the metallic can do crazy things. Oh my goodness, Karma. Tell me that right there isn't the cutest little thing you ever did see. I love her. She's so charming. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. So that needs a second to dry, and I think I am going to be a little bit of a, oh, I just had a thought. I totally just had a thought. Okay, let me, one, those guys, do I have them? Yes, there we go. Okay, so these are half teardrops. And I'm thinking it would be kind of fun to build a necklace with a taper. There, that's the one. Okay. So we'd want it to like that. So what is that? That's a 40. So that's a 50. I probably can go 40, 60. Oh, you guys are naughty. I actually think it's going to be a 40 and a 50. And then I can put the 60 away if I can figure out where it came from. There you go. You, no, you were there. Oh yeah. So 40 and 50, and then let me find the actual matching triangle. So that's 110. I'm gonna have those elsewhere, don't I? No. Okay, that's the only way I have those, I think. So, and then I've got that. So it was 40, 50, and then I probably need the 60. It should be, yes, I think I will do that. So, not sure how I'll end up making earrings for that, but that's going to be the plan for right now. So, I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my outer ones with one layer of this pattern. And we'll see if that becomes viable. I should probably just do them as close to this edge as possible so we don't lose much. And make sure it's got some of the paint. And most of the colors. Yeah. Alright, so we have that. Let's not knock that off the table. Dogs would have entirely too much fun playing with that. Okay. And I think the smart thing to do would be find another tile. There we go. And I'm going to knife these off and set them aside. And hopefully while I've been playing around with all this, my paint has been drying on these, but not drying out over there. We'll see if we get that lucky. Okay. Go ahead and slice you off. So then the next question is, I don't know if that is, oh yeah, no, that's, oh yeah, that's dry. We're good. That's mess from earlier. This is dry. Okay, so probably just burnish it down. The goal is I want to flatten this back outward at my, this actually works surprisingly well for burnishing. Let's see, we're getting nice and flattened down now. So work the outer edges a little more. Out. Okay. That's so pretty. So it's gonna have, should, because we're playing with metallics and all this iridescent, it should have a fun effect of when you turn it, you get more interest, more visual interest. So we'll see if that holds true. Is this guy anywhere near big enough to cover this, or do I need to roll out more? Yeah, no, I have to roll out more. Yeah, to be honest, I will deal with that later, and I will grab a fresh piece because that's going to be full of bubbles now. So, take a good minute to warm this back up. I'm just working that in my hand. And keep working it. I'm just trying to get it to warm up a bit. And hopefully it'll process quicker now. All right. So crunchy. This is Cernit, and yes, it looks very white. Starts out looking quite white, and then it turns pretty darn clear, but it will get a little yellow. So that's what I use here. If you use it really thin, you don't get much discoloration, but it was pretty thick underneath these guys. So that's that little touch of yellowy. So it ends up looking more like Sculpey, but it's a bit more clear than Sculpey ends up. But if it's relatively thick, then you'll get a little bit of yellowing to it. Let's get this thin. Shush, of course, anytime. So I start doing this live so that I can actually answer some questions and share some information as I'm playing. And I don't get to editing if I'm on the computer. I have so much with the website to be doing. Guys, enough! I know the Rottweiler's going to be running amok. You heard his gate. So bad. But yeah, if I'm at the computer, I end up spending way more time working on like the website and designing rollers and all that stuff. So I don't end up getting to editing these things and getting them put up as videos. So I figured going live is an easy way to actually be able to share information as I'm just playing, because the playtime is my tinker time. Oh. The bee's getting into it with the Rottweiler. I gotta go save a bee. Give me 1 second, guys. Guys, enough. Are you fighting with the Rottweiler? Come on, bee. Come. Are you coming out? Don't bust the Rottweiler. No. What'd you even get in your ear hair? Holy smokes. You're like wearing half the yard. Yeah, get a Rottweiler puppy, they said. It'll be fun, somebody said. He's like a giant wrecking ball. It's like, yes, the Papillons can be naughty and mischievous, but nothing compared to a Rottweiler puppy. He has been nicknamed the Rottenweiler. He's a really good boy, though. He's trying very hard to be a good big boy, but he is just a permanent wrecking ball. All right, it's going to be some bubbly translucent. Let's see if we can get you up without making a mess. Okay, got it off of there. Now I don't even remember why I was picking it up. Oh, I was going to run it through the press machine. That's why. And pulling off the edges. It's easier if it's not stuck in. Guys, Loki. Loki. No being possessive. Apparently my phone is not on as quiet as I thought it was. No yelling at Havoc for passing the door. I'm just leaving it on the same setting and just putting it through a couple of times just to kind of change the angles and push it in. Alrighty. Lay you back down. Had a crack start there, so yeah. You might end up with a little drama from using the paints on Cernet. Sometimes it can get quirky. Okay, let's go back to the embossing version again. The handles are handy. And oh no. No. See, yep. We're having, oh, and I forgot to spray it. Yep, that's why, this is why you spray it every time. Don't just assume it's still damp. Just going to have to guess. So we're going to go from top down. See? It's wet, it doesn't stick. Have to pick that out in a minute. All right, guys, less arguing over toys. Thank you. They're all bad. So bad. Rottweiler might be on the move again, so it might happen again. So yeah, this section is now kind of a mess. Oh, thank you for the Halloween ghosts. Those came out really pretty, didn't they? I love it. I appreciate you, oh, the sharks would be fun. I appreciate you purchasing. I absolutely do. I've been absolutely floored at how popular these are, and it's been really cool. It's been amazing watching what other people make with them. Like, that's probably the neatest part about selling the rollers, is because I design them for stuff I want to make, or I just have cool ideas. I'm like, oh, how would that look? And then they sit around here and they don't do much. So it absolutely makes me so happy to see what other people do with them. The Kumigane artists, other polymer clay artists, the pottery people. I've gotten some potters that started ordering them, so I started making them bigger sizes, and oh my goodness, they do some really pretty things with them. All right, so I'm back to the paints. I added some white on. Yeah, that was the the issue with the rollers is nobody sold them that were deep enough. So when I was designing them for myself, especially for my Kumigane, I was like, I want them deep. I want to be able to actually like really get in there. So yeah, that made, I think that's why they're popular, especially again, for the potters, they have to be super deep because their clay is so much heavier than ours. So like even here with the Cernet, it's not as soft and flexible as playing with the Sculpey. And even if I use the Sculpey translucent, I would still have a little bit of an issue with it just not being as flexible and as willing to move. Guys, you're being sassy. All right, that's the light blue. I just want to dab some of that around. I might as well finish using that up. And I want this coat to be just a touch heavier. I also don't want to start getting it in anywhere. And then, oh, yeah, we're starting to get dry on those others. But if I break into them, they're all right. I'm going to touch it, touch it, touch it. Get a little paint down in some places. Pick up a little more paint and then come back in. I think I'm going to need a little bit more of that. What was this medium blue? So yeah, it's really fascinating. That gouache paint stays wetter longer, it seems like, and it moves better longer. Where this is like so damp that it just kind of wants to sit on top and doesn't want to. Like it was nice using it as the white because then it lets all the other colors work into it a little and it gets on there nice and heavy. But there we go. Okay. I think that's going to be good there. So we'll leave it like that. How long will you take to dry? Michi, you're bossy. Dry. There's a hair in my paint dollop. Oh my goodness. And so I could separate the dog space and the craft space. However, then I wouldn't get the commingling of hanging out with the dogs and crafting. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that. And I'd hate to take that much time away from my dogs crafting, and hate to take that much time away from the crafting playing with the dogs. So they get mom time, and I'm not a million miles away, so they're happier. Whoop. All right, we lost a little bit of paint, but that's totally okay. So we're just getting a little bit darker. So then we're going to want to take this next layer, and I'm actually going to spritz these so they're not so likely to pick up the paint. Oh, I left those raised. It's probably enough raised here to match those. That one's been done. And then, is that raised enough? The point is it needs to be these newer colors too. You know what? There might be just enough raised sitting there still. Okay, that'll do it. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, right there. Okay. Get the bigger blade. Bring it over here. Lay down. Alrighty. I'd end up burnishing those down just a hair so that we don't have the conflict of some high, some low. Okay, and then we have that funk on there, so I'm just going to take you separate, and that still gives us plenty to keep layering. So that is pretty well burnished down. Put it just a little bit more. Make sure it's all the way burnished. I'll set that in paint. Okay. And then this time I've actually still got a scrap piece ready. Stay with me though. Alrighty. More ceramic away. And just pulling all the scraps off the edges. Okay. Put knives away where they belong. Stop moving things out. I always have to tell myself that, don't I? All right, let's run that back to 0. All right, so down. All right, guys, you don't need to be so bossy. Michi. Embossing again. Spray it. And Michi. It's pretty sure he owns the world. He's cute, so he kind of gets away with it. All right, now this time, let's start down here and see if I just go in with that blue. See, it's such a wet blue. Actually, I think there we go. Clay was still, there we go. The clay was still damp at the time. Forgot to dry it off. There we go. I'm trying not to get it too thick on my finger so it actually lays down. And smooch out the darker one. Very pretty dark blue. Tap, 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 tap. Okie dokie. So now that is what I'm going to consider the last layer. And can you get some of this paint off my finger? Michi, he's such a tough little softie. Alright, so I'm thinking we're gonna aim for like these snowflakes, I think. for a finished piece. And I probably want to, I don't know if I want to burnish it just a tiny little bit or not. Don't want the snowflakes to be overly too centered. Find the spots. Okay, there you go. Michi. Ah, Michi. You don't need to be so bossy. Aren't you in a crate? Oh, little tiny boss. All right, there we go. So, like that. And then the lighter colored ones. I'm curious how much we'll be able to see through to the base layers on this, because now we've got 3 different layers of. So the fun part about cutting them out like this is giving us the opportunity to see in layers how many different ways they came out. But I'm also going to see if I've got enough room to cut out another set of just those. And do that same layered, tiered. Oh my goodness! Lestat is sad again. I'll force you to try to keep some of the paint off. I'm being impatient and I'm cutting while it's probably still damp. Okay, so one of those. Oh, he meows like a cat. Alright, and then this won't fit there. I'm going to be too picky on spacing because I want to make sure I can get all these to fit. Michi! I mean, on placement. Spacing is important. Placement's not as important because it's just snowflakes. Michi, I'm going to take your bone away. You know how that ends. Never ends good for the grumpy dog. Let's see if we can get another pair in here. Alright, so these are the small ones. And I want 2 pairs of these if I can find that much room, because I want 1 pair as earrings. Mr. Michi Pie! And then another pair as part of the necklace. I might need to put a touch more paint here. Michi, you're a little boss. Why are you bossing so hard? Don't you realize you're tiny? Who are you bossing around? I can't even tell. You're not even chewing a bone if you're growling. Lestat finally got a bone. He's so happy. He's so cute. All right, yeah, there we go. Did I see you? And I see you. There we go. So, wait. Oh, you came out. You stayed down. I bet there was a hair involved in that. First world problems. Oh my goodness. There's a dog hair in my crafting supplies. Okay, so yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to like the tapered colors or the matching colors better. We shall see. Alright, so now there is still a little bit of stuff to play with. You know, that's actually a decent amount to try and do beads with. Almost feel like I should cover it one more time in guys, do I have to take the bones? Beep, beep. Watch out, Karma. Oh, Karma, you're the sweetest. Yeah. Michi, why are you on the bottom level? Come here, let's solve this problem. Give me. Michi, come. Michi, come. Michi, come. Michi, up, up. Michi, have a bone up high. Phoenix, stop staring at him. Fifi. Hey, no, that's not a dog toy. Where'd you? That's not a bone. Eat a bone. They're terrible. Oh, I totally failed on my attempt to make good dogs for the video. Okay, so I'm trying to see if I can pull that one out. Get some of it, but will that come off? Well, maybe. Okay. Shouldn't have folded that up. Should have just left it sitting flat because, ugh, it was the right size. Okay. Ah, the crumblage. Oh, yes. Oh, well. Okay. So that should do for beads. And I'm going to just roll up a little log of white. Oh my goodness. Michi, just chew your bone. Michi. No one's trying to steal your bone. You're in a crate all by yourself. No one can get to it. There you go. Just chew your bone, little man. Oh, he thinks he's tough. There you go. I never have this much chaos in here. Bones were a terrible idea. All right. Don't want it that fat. Maybe a little thinner. Okay, about like that. I'll start there. Michi. I'm sorry, you guys aren't seeing what I'm doing, are you? Actually, those all need to get put away. Eventually, blade goes away. Scraps get put away. Still all translucent. It's all the colored scraps. You guys can float around. And then this I'm just going to roll up until it about ends, about touching itself. And then I'm going to kind of tear, I think, you know, if I was smart, I would have kept this back just a touch. There we go. Oh, someone's grumbling. I'm just going to tear this edge off. That down and in. It's definitely, having done the Cernet with the alcohol inks, there's definitely a crumbliness coming with that Cernet. Wash tile. So normally I work like this, where if I don't have tiles in the oven, then I've got plenty of tiles to keep playing around with. Problem is when I get on a crafting bender and I have tiles, I have projects, like 3 different projects out being worked on, that's when it gets really funny. Okay. Alright, so those should make good beads. It's easier to work them if I leave it sitting a little bit. Sometimes, so it firms up a touch, but I almost wonder if that might be dangerous with the funk we've got going on with this Cernet. So you know what, let me go ahead and run through these as beads. I'm going to put these in the oven so you guys can see how these turn out. Is there any more? No, we used it all. Okay. Those in the oven. They might not get through their whole hour while I'm making beads, but and that little piece of glass needs to get put over where it goes into the kitchen to get washed in the sink. Oh, yeah. Power on things that don't need power on. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So easy next. Oh, and I also have all this scrap sitting here. That would probably make a decent little Elvis. Elvis is the one you guys will usually hear me yelling at because he likes to be loud. He's got a big mouth and he likes to use it. It's part of how we got named Elvis. He's definitely one of the most vocal. That, and he has a cute little black spot on his lip that makes it look like his little lips curled up, so he looks like a king. Alrighty. Okay. Let's see if that's worth anything. Elvis! Elvis, less murder. Elvis, Elvis, Elvis! What do they have that you want? What's the matter? You're fine, buddy. That's a shame. I put the tile in the oven already because I could have cut something out of that and put with it. Instead, this is probably just going to be sitting around in my way for a while now. But it's just kind of fun. Got the tiniest hint of snowflaking, but otherwise it's just going to be kind of a cool translucent sandy marbly thing. So that can float over there. Alright, so back to this idea of running beads. I think I only need a tile at the moment. And I'll just cut one of you for now. There's kind of a seam already started there, so we'll go there. The right for these. So there's a billion and one different ways to make beads. I typically end up going with the lampwork style because I use a ton of those for doing my beaded leads for my show dogs. So it's kind of just been my go-to. Sometimes I'll make some smaller ones, but not always. Like, you know, normal size hole, but not often. That's an interesting feel to that. All right, so yeah, so basically make a log, cut it into roughly the height you want to work with. We tell Elvis to shush. Elvis, what do you got?
Elvis.
You have a bone. Just chew it. Phoenix, come here. Fifi, come. Stop staring them down. That's the problem. Everyone's staring at their bones. Those that don't want what's left over only want. All right. Anyway, so yeah, so put a hole in it. Try to get mostly centered. Roll it on. These are just knitting needles. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on AliExpress or whatever. Small ones like a 2 or 2.5, and the big ones like a 4.5. And I think my little thingamajiggies, I think those are 5 millimeters. So then I just pinch the sides all down and encourage it to just huggy, huggy, huggy. That's what we want is a hug. And then I'll roll it together a little bit, and that'll get me relatively well set in there. So we're kind of squished to the inside, but we're edged to the end of the rondel pretty good, or whatever you want to call those. What are those things called? Grommets. That's what they are. They're grommets. There's another name that works also, but yeah, they're grommets. Okay, so I usually just kind of roll it like that, and you can do a bead just like that. You can do it kind of rolling it on the table, but finding an angle. Or we can use my cheat. I made these little bead rolling plates, and these are fun. Deeper. So, and you want to just kind of roll it till it gets free rolling. If you get too much gunk on the side, you want to get out of the way because it will possibly get caught back up on the roller. You want to make sure you don't get too carried away with rolling them here, because sometimes they'll release the grommet and then start expanding. But the reason I use the grommets is if they don't release from the grommets and they stuck to the grommets, then they roll out into just a nice clean little So I'm going to get a little, that's just where the translucent connected. Whatever, we'll see how that turns out. It shouldn't be a problem. Mostly this is an experiment to see if you can see much of that snowflaking in there. So I'm gonna pop these in. Safely, Mark's safe from oven attack. Managed to drop it in there without getting beat up by the oven. All right, I think we can do the rest of these. I don't think we're gonna have a texture of Cernit problem. It might be better to do them earlier than later. I'm just trying to find that seam from earlier. And I might not be able to work that as well because that's under this outer layer of translucent, but maybe. Okay. Just wanting to crack a tiny bit. So yeah, I think we'll be best off to go ahead and process these as quickly as possible because it might get dried out by sitting around a while. Unfortunately, I can't really tell what the patterning's like underneath here. So I'm just gonna have to kind of guess. And usually like most of them on the kind of medium size. And a few, I'm thinking that looks like that doesn't have any real color down at that end. So yeah, put that over in the junk pile. And then I usually like to have like 1 or 2 big focal size and then everything else is kind of more of a medium size. Those away. So I'm just gonna sit here and pokey pokey. Oh, peace in the Middle East. Near East, in my garage, whatever you want to call it. It's finally peaceful for the moment. So someone decides they want to go out and they'll start telling me all about their day again. Oh my goodness. Yeah, living with a pack of dogs is definitely different than living with 1 or 2. If any of you follow me on Facebook, I have 2. I have Cassandra Jean Designs, which is connected to all things roller business. And pretty much only that, unless I accidentally cross-post something because I'm on the wrong profile. And then I have my Cassandra Jean Artist page, which is essentially my, it's a little bit of everything. I post a bunch for the roller stuff and my clay working, but I try to always post everything on both if it's going to go on my personal. I try to still post it over on the Cassandra Jean Designs too, but the Cassandra Jean Artist is where I ended up with most of my dog stuff. I do have a page just for my Papillon breeding program, but I never use it because I'm not good at cross-posting onto everything. So it's still a learning curve to make sure that my roller stuff ends up over on the business page. But pretty much all of my Papillon stuff ends up on my Cassandra Jean Artist. So you can have some idea of all the psycho dogs have causing trauma in the background. Yeah, you can meet them all on Facebook because I post tons about them on there. I'm always going off to dog shows. I have litters a couple times a year. Post things about what they're doing with their new owners on occasion. And yeah. I've got some big dog shows coming up. The one, I guess it's usually Royal Canin. Airs either Christmas or New Year's. I don't remember. But gets recorded. It's in Orlando coming up in a couple weeks. So my guys will be there showing. I don't pay the big entry fee for the Saturday show. Because currently I don't have anyone. My special is still kind of young, so he's not going to be super competitive quite yet. He's getting there, but he needs another year to grow up. So maybe next year I'll actually pay the big bucks to put him in the big show that gets televised. But they don't usually televise per breed; they just televise the groups. So he would have to actually win breed to do that, which is possible, but there's some big winning dogs in our breed right now. So we've got the #1 toy in the country is a Papillon. So he'll almost definitely be there. And he'll probably win it because he's nice and he's got a lot of backing. And yeah. If any of you have ever seen the movie Best in Show, it's my favorite movie. It's awesome and it's so true. It's just so true. It's hilarious. Ready. Get near. Show you get well and step down. And the last set of these. Unless you guys want to see me work on setting up the other set of beads. I don't think, no, I didn't show you guys those. Got a pile of, so this is how ADD works. I'm almost done. New idea. No, I'm not almost done. I've still got 12 steps. Yeah, so those were the bead rolls that I made out of the scraps from that other project. So I might go ahead and run those into beads while we're sitting here. And I'm waiting for that stuff to bake up enough that I can show you. It's only 10 minutes, so it won't be clear enough. And usually I bake at least 30 minutes, but I got a new toaster oven that can run for a full hour because I find my pieces are stronger if I do them a full hour. And like I'm doing the beads, I like them to run for a full hour, if not a little bit more, because they do get pretty abused. And the dogs, if they get a chance, they will chew on them because they're on dog leads. So yeah. All right, I feel like you're on there pretty good. I think we're gonna stick with the slightly fatter version. So you see this end's holding and staying pretty close to its grommet. This end's starting to pull away a little. So it gets flat and starts to pull away. So if I was to squeeze it, like you could see it would move away from it instead of staying with it. So just try to work it back in. That was this one. All right, stayed with it pretty good that time. Okie dokie, you go there. So one of the things that makes it sometimes come away is if it's got too much clay up in the grommet, then that'll stick to my stick rather than allowing it to free roll on my pokey sticker, and that'll let it start to try to peel away from. And see, so that's doing it. You can see that's totally released, but this side's not. And I didn't look to see if this was the side that had a little bit more clay stuck to it, but it probably was. Let's just do this again. Okie dokie. And that's what I was unsure on whether, oh, this is it, I had released that time. Yeah, this one's being quirky. So I'm going to spin it down one more time and roll it gently. That's the problem, is it really needs to work down and get its shape worked out. But every time I do that, it just wants to run away from this. This one might just be a little egg-shaped. Ah, no, don't run away. Don't hit the floor. There we go. Maybe if I do it longer, so it's not getting as much pressure. I think that worked okay. And you're shapely enough. You hopefully will live. All right. Teach me to talk about what causes the problem, huh? Problem just shows up. All right, pressing you all in there. Okay. And really, these ones are kind of boring to work on in person because you can't tell what the heck is going to be there once that clears up. Too close to the edge. Oh no, I have papillon hairs. Okay. Stay away from the papillon hairs. All right. Press it a little. Let's see if we can get it to run on this one because I don't want it to be as shallow as that. And I'll show you guys that in 1 second. You can go a little 3/4 on it if you want to compress the sides in a touch. There we go. That's a good one. Okay. Yeah, so the depth difference, you can see that's going to make a fatter bead. This is going to make a more narrow bead. Show you like that. So basically, the grommet's going to roll somewhere along the edge, and then the pole is here. It's here. So that's the distance away from the pole that your bead's going to be. So some of them work better on the thin ones. Some of them sit a little better. And again, it kind of depends on the shape you want your bead to have, final shape you want your bead to have. Sometimes I like them fatter, sometimes I like them slimmer. And I was even playing with a set that does triangular. I thought that was kind of fun. It is kind of neat, but I tried it once. It kind of worked, and I didn't play with it again. And they definitely don't fit this idea, so I probably won't play with them with this. Yeah. Feel that hardening up. I said for some reason it has weird reaction to using acrylics and such with it, or liquid clay, or even sometimes the this doesn't react to the metal leaf. It's the liquid clay I use when I do the metal leaf. Like, so I again, Cernit is by far the clearest that I've played with. I think Fimo, they say, might be a little clearer. I don't want to learn another clay type. Cernit gives me enough trouble. But yeah, so Cernit gives me the prettiest finish out of what I've played with, and I prefer it in the end, but I don't get along with it when I'm working with it. Most of the times the problem I have is it likes to get soft and sticky and like ooey gooey and too soft. And the opposite is if you get an older bar, it's just, it never conditions. Like, it absolutely flat refuses to condition, and it just stays crumbly forever and ever and ever. But even with that, when I've gotten it to finally condition, a lot of times it wants to go soft and soggy. I think, again, that's usually when I've been using it in a chippy choppy, and I've got other things in it like acrylic paint or the clay stuff, the liquid clay. Rolly. All right, there we go. Starts free spinning on the bar. I know that center bit's loose. Nope. So, yes, that had some clay still there, and that side doesn't really, so I think that is what it is that makes it do that. You know what? Something that's already loose and it's already got clay in it. Let's try that. Like I said, it absolutely has something to do with the freedom in which it rolls on this. If it's at all sticky, it's almost definitely going to do that. I think that's fine. Okay. So those sets are done. Go away. Whatever. If I'm not playing with Cernit, I might not have as much trouble. Where did my little spray bottle go? And fresh paper towel, because my fingers start to get sticky. Especially because there's still some residue of acrylic paint on there too. Alright. This I am absolutely in love with. That is pretty. And again, we're going to have some transparent and white games up on that section. And yeah, that should turn out really pretty. So I'll try to put that close to the camera so you can see where I choose to make my cuts. At least a little bit. So I've shown you all that white and funk and interestingness. I'm actually going to kind of cut it at where that is the composition of that entire bead. So it's a pretty big one, but I think it's going to, I'm actually, that's a little bit of nothing. So there we go. It's a little more normal sized. Yeah, so I'm trying to just get all that. What are you guys arguing out about now? That sounded like Loki. Loki, who's messing with you? So usually when I'm doing these, I kind of roll them and look for where the color change and try to make sure that there's something interesting relatively centered. So like that's a really good section. So I can either do that really small or I can let that have all of it. Let's just make that one big fat bead and let's see how that turns out. And then this one, we've got a very obvious double snowflake there, so that's all that needs to be. And I'm not gonna lie, I think leave you all one. I think so. I can compress you a little, and I think you'll be all one just fine. Okay. Fatten you up just a touch too. Okie dokie, here's my skinny one. Don't need the roller. The blade actually away. Assuming you guys have all seen these by now. My little magnetic blade holder. He's kind of awesome. And sometimes I remember to actually put my stuff away. So back to you just kind of eyeball the center, push it most of the way through. If the center's offset, then you recenter it. You usually let it roll onto my thumbnail and use that kind of as a guide for the distance off the bottom and to allow my little grommets to fit in there. Another little pile. Let's got a bone. Oh, the babies are being sleepy. Hi, Karma. And that's Kismet next to her. Oh, yeah. And they're goofballs. He finally got a bone. He can sleep now. All that work to get one. He just wanted to cuddle it. They're so funny. I love the babies. Alrighty. Let's see how this is going to come out. Probably the fatter one. And a few more of these. It looks like it's getting to the point where we might be able to see what's going on with those pieces. pieces and how they turned out. So I don't think that's actually as deep as that groove is. So I'm going to switch to the thinner one. Sometimes if I can manage to catch that and pull it off, I do. But not always. Yeah, I needed the thinner one. Oh, that's perfect. That came out really good. These should have a little bit of visual interest show up, and it's possible that some of it might have a lot more blue, darker blue come through because the back was such a dark blue. Or the backing, sorry. If I remember correctly, like this guy, I think it finished darker blue than it was when we put it in the oven because some of that Cernic clear let go and let the color shine through. So some of these might end up darker than I want them, or than they look now. They can be darker, it's still pretty. This one I probably will have to put in the fat roller. Maybe not. Loki, why are you so grumpy? Yep, that one's good too. I'm hoping there's some translucent through there, so that should give a little bit more, not be just a big white patch, but actually have something interesting going on. We shall see. A little scrap pile. Put a little chunk of colored scrap over it. No boring white spots allowed. Interesting white spots are fine, but boring ones are not cool. I think we're probably getting close on those up there to being able to feel like we can see what they're doing. Maybe I'll finish the other two of these and we'll chuck these in the oven and pull those out and see what it's doing. That feels a little bit like the sticky Cernic situation on this end. I'm going to kind of push it in to compress it just a touch. That one should be really pretty with the translucent. You can see there's tons of translucent to white in there. So that should be super pretty once it comes out. Doop. And there we go. Alrighty, it goes there. Oh, Elvis, no one cares about your bone. Just chew it. Don't fuss at everyone for looking at it. Again, it's a good bit of translucent sitting in those other areas. So yeah, these should turn out really pretty too, I think. I'll use that and stack my mess on. There we go. It just cracks me up how many little tics I develop. So I have to have things certain ways. Like I like to have a little chunk of clay to put all my tiny clay scraps stuck to. Otherwise there's just little tiny clay scraps in a little tiny pile. And it's harder to keep track of it and keep them from showing up in other stuff. So, yeah. Little weird idiosyncrasies we show up with. No little rules for how we work. Pop out? Okay. Alrighty. Alright, there we go. That is the end of those for some reason. Well, that's some thunder. I don't feel like that one's exactly what I want it to be. That's a little better. Okay. The shape was just looking a little odd as it was sitting there. Okay. Don't touch the beads. Scoop them towards the center, more or less. So they're less likely to fall off if they go sideways. They lean a little. Mostly that's, again, me just being silly. All right, and let's see if we can get the other guys out. Still need to clean those, so don't put those away yet. And pop these in the oven. Oh, I am going to need to be able to take that bead off and set it with these. That hasn't been in there terribly long, but we're still not quite getting clear on that translucent coverage, so it definitely needs a lot longer. Honestly, it even still feels a little sticky. Ah, no, no running off. Bad bead in the oven with you. Stay. Terrible, naughty bad bead. Yeah, these guys might have to cool down some before we get that. I know I'm seeing it here. I'm definitely seeing the layers in the depth there. I think those will probably take a cold plunge. And this can use another half an hour. I just wanted to pull it out and show you guys. I think we'll end up seeing more through there than we see right now. But that's definitely starting to get some clarity to it, so kind of a taste of what these will turn out like. I'll try to remember to throw up a little short reveal on those once they come out. So cold plunge is kind of a thing. You can, I don't know for sure if it actually helps improve clarity, but there's rumors that it does. So a lot of times I'll do it. I'll just give them a little quickie ice bath when they come out. Tricky thing is I don't plan on pulling those off that tile. Maybe I'll just run them under cool water. Because I don't want to pull those off that tile because I like to sand them when they're stuck on the tile because it saves my hands a lot. So yeah, I'll probably just end up rinsing them under cool water. And I will try to get you guys a little short when that comes up. But yeah, I think I am done crafting for now that my dogs have all behaved themselves. Karma, you want to say goodbye to your friends? Karma, you come say goodbye to your friends. Karma's the sweetest little softie that ever did softie. She is. And you got a little sticky something on your nose. Did you do that with a bone? That's her brother Kismet. Hi, Kizzy. Yeah. Guys got extra teary from chewing on bones. Yeah, Mom's got to wipe those little tear stains off. Bye, Karma. And there's the mouth. Lestat. Well, you stretching. You stretchy stretching. Lestat, where you going? You being smug? Like, maybe I don't want love. Maybe I'm still napping. Nope, I want love. Give me the love. Put me in the middle. Elvis, come here. Show me your little lip. Elvis, come. Here's Elvis. He's got a little dark smudge on his lip. Come here, Elvis. Come. Come here. Elvis, come. He's like, there's babies in the way. I don't do babies. Christmas says, I'll come. I'm coming. Elvis, come here. Elvis comes. Really, Michi? Hi, Hazel. Hazelnut. Hi, Lestat. Elvis. Karma. You little Karma, soft, sweet girl. Yes, you are. You're the sweetest little sweet girl. Little softy girl. Alrighty, I will catch you guys on the next one. So I find the button to say goodbye. Aw, Michi, you are covered in chewing on bone slime. You got filthy chewing on that bone. Alright, talk to you guys soon. See you on the next one.